Hey everyone, Tootin here with another Spyral gameplay and deck tech video with the Link Festival, or the Link Special Duels event, whatever Konami wants to call it. And as you might expect, Spyral is probably the best deck in the format. It's the best Link deck of all time, besides maybe Sky Strikers, and it's very powerful here. The only thing you really lose that's kind of central to how Spyral plays is the rank 1 XZs, but you can make up for that by having 2 quick fixes to search out your other gears. So it kind of makes up for it in that sense. Konami did recognize that Spyral is probably too powerful in this event, so they did limit Spyral Resort to 1. That is a very large consistency hit because now we've gone from functionally 7 copies of Quick Fix, if you count 2 Quick Fixes, 3 Spyral Resorts, 1 Terraforming, and 1 1-for-1, down to 4 copies of Quick Fix. Likewise, it makes cards like Where Art Thou, Machine Duplication, and even Fool's Bureau Goods bad because all 3 of those cards in the pure variants were ways to combo with the Quick Fix, which you had so many copies of in your deck. So I've decided to go for a Spyral Danger variation because the Danger variation plays the best with Small World, and the Small World actually gives us more copies of Quick Fix because it searches for both Quick Fix and obviously for more copies of Magician's Souls. So I think this is probably the better way to go compared to Pure. Pure is probably like not as bad in the regular format when you have all these Spyral Resorts and all this access to Quick Fix, but without all the consistency, you need to add consistency rather than add combo power, and Small World is the best consistency card in the format. Other than that, you'll see I have Mothman as my main Small World bridge instead of Pankratops like you've seen in previous Danger Small World variations. The reason is I was using Pankratops because I was running Gamma and Driver, and Pankratops would bridge to everything that Mothman bridges to via Gamma and Driver as well. Because I'm not playing Gamma and Driver, Mothman is actually better than Pankratops because it goes to Tough, who I am playing for this event, because it's good to have a good going second card, and it frequently comes up in this format with so many board breakers that, one, you want more Spyral names to kind of get into, and two, games can tend to go longer than 2 or 3 turns, so Tough does become a lot better in those situations. Also, I want to enable Reinforcement of the Army to be a better card because Selene's very important in a pure Link version of the deck. It really helps with extending through certain plays and getting multiple Master Plan revival effects when you don't have as much access to discarding because you lose your rank 1 XZs. And Reinforcement of the Army is a free spell that gets you a Spyral name that will help turn on Selene on top of your regular Spyral combo. Similarly, I'm playing a second Big Red. This is so in this case where you go Magician's Souls plus Quick Fix, like your normal 1-2 combo, you can actually turn on Selene by summoning a second Quick Fix with Helix, searching a Big Red, and discarding that Big Red later with Quick Fix, and then that'll get you your 3 spells for Selene. Similarly, Helencrist's Anima goes into Selene, so pretty nifty. Though this is very cuttable, it's just like a cute way to get into both Selene and Curious for the deck, so I'm kind of running it as a test. I was running a previous version of this list. I was running more Mothman and more Greffers, which I think you're going to see in one of the videos one of the gameplay videos I'm going to show at the second half of this video. I since cut Dark Greffer, it was just underperforming for me. It's probably still worth running one of, especially in a Reinforcement of the Army deck, but I've just have little luck with it, especially because you can't run Dugars to do the Nessie combo. Other than that, the main thing this deck is trying to do is set up a generic board with Tri-Gate Wizard, a card I've much maligned for a very long time, and I still think it's not that good in this format because there's so many Kaijus running around. Like I said, a lot of board breakers, but it's the only Omni Negate you can access, and it's a really good Link payoff. And similarly, we actually have tons of extra Link material in a Link-only format because we're running Codebreakers. Codebreakers gives you all the material you'll ever need to do a Tri-Gate Wizard setup. I've also strayed away from U-Linking. U-Linking is kind of heavy investment, and while it is in this format functionally an extra deck lock like Buster or Scythe, it's not that good because a lot of people are just on board-breaking cards and like Dark Ruler No More and Kaijus and Evenly Matched and Ragekis, and they'll have 2 or 3 board breakers in their hand, and I don't like running a U-Link into that because it's really hard to set up both a Tri-Gate and a U-Link sometimes unless you get a really crazy hand. So instead of that, I'm going for just a more powerful generic board where I set up a Nightmare Griffin and Curious combo to set a Pointer of the Red Lotus. This is one of the few cards in the format that you can access that's basically as good as an Omni Negate, if not better, because it can get rid of a Dark Ruler No More, it can get rid of Kaijus, cards that Omni Negates don't interact with, and you have access to it very easily via Curious and the Codebreaker line into Nightmare Griffin. I'm also running a Firewall Dragon as another form of disruption to protect my Tri-Gate setup. You could put Nightmare Phoenix on the left link like you've done in the past to prevent your Appaloosa from getting run over, but Firewall Dragon's going to bounce any monster they use to attack while preserving your Sleeper as a pop too, and it's just a really powerful extender sometimes we need to add a card back to your hand. If you accidentally have to discard your last resort off of a 1-for-1 or a Danger, having a Fireball Dragon to pop it back to your hand and protect your Sleeper is pretty cool. Other than that, the only unusual cards I'm running are like Foolish Burial, which you don't see me run that often. Honestly, you could always run Foolish Burial in Spiral. It's just put Master Plan in the graveyard or put Quick Fix in the graveyard, so it's pretty good regardless. But I kind of cut it a lot of times because my decks get overly sized and I don't need it that much when I'm just trying to get to Magician Souls. It's very redundant with Magician Souls, so I tend to cut it. But like I said, with Reinforcement of the Army, I really want generic spell extenders, and Foolish Burial is that for Selene. And you can actually get into some funny situations where you can Foolish Burial, still make Selene with a combination of Dark Monsters and like a Relinquished Anima, and then bring back your Master Plan and finally get it into rotation. That has come up every now and then, so it's actually really solid in this format, and it's the main reason I am running Relinquished. So that's really it. I don't think there's anything unusual otherwise. I'm just running the full Danger Suite, 3 Tsuchinoko, 2 Jackalope, 3 Nessie, and the Mothman. You typically want 7 to 9 Dangers. They're basically just draw spells and extenders, and they're very, very good going second. As you can see, I'm not running any like Forbidden Droplets. I'm not running many hand traps, just Ash Blossom to beat Maxi. But Dangers plus the Nightmare Link Climbing plus is just really powerful. If you wanted to adjust the extra deck, another card I might consider playing, because there are decks that kind of make towers like Marincess out there, is Underworld Goddess. If I was going to play Underworld Goddess, I would cut Relinquished, and that would probably be the first thing I change in the deck, other than what I have right here. So that's enough jabbering. I think I covered all my bases. Let's go ahead and get into some gameplay. Alright, so we're here with the first game, and I'm going to show you a hand I get a lot of questions about. What do you do with Dangers? How do I run Dangers? Like, what's the best way to play Dangers? Well, I'm going to give you the basic breakdown with this hand. What you do with Dangers is, you set any spell or trap cards you do not want to discard. For this case, I have a Monster Reborn that I would much rather keep in my access to. I'd rather discard any other card in my hand than Monster Reborn, so I'm going to set Monster Reborn, and once you've set all the cards you want to keep, you would then play any plays you have. For instance, if I had a Quick Fix or a Magician Souls, I would use those first because I would want those to resolve, and I wouldn't want to discard them. And once you've emptied your hand of any real plays, if you discard Last Resort, you discard Last Resort. That sucks, and I do, but you live with that. And then you draw a card, and this is why you run Dangers. As a Spiral deck, you crave two things: one, consistency through either card filtering, drawing cards, or searching, and two, discarding cards, and actually a third thing, link material, and Dangers do all three. They're just perfectly synergistic with Spyral. It's the main reason you would run them. And now I draw into a Magician Souls, and as you might expect, Magician Souls plus Rescue Mission is full combo. Now, this is actually a bit questionable. If I was going to play it safer, I would have used Magician Souls to discard Rescue Mission first, then flip Monster Reborn. The reason why is my opponent had a DD Crow. They could chain DD Crow to my Monster Reborn, and if I have this Rescue Mission in graveyard already, then I would be able to Rescue Mission chain to DD Crow and save my Master Plan. But, it's good to be greedy because now I get to draw 2 cards off Magician Souls, which I love doing. And my opponent wastes their Ash on Magician Souls. Never Ash Magician Souls. It's too late if you're doing that. You might want to save it for a Helix or a Quick Fix. And at this point, we're just going to Link Climb into Barricade Board Blocker. I'm not even going to have to Chain Block because my opponent wasted their Ash. See, like my opponent would have forced me to discard here if they had just saved their Ash because I would be seeing this prompt. And I had Quick Fix and Spyral Resort. Unfortunately, because I have to add Quick Fix off Master Plan, I'm not going to be able to add Super Agent because I need to search for Sleeper. But I do have the Jackalope to make up for the material that Super Agent would represent. So this is the regular Spyral Link Climb now at this point. Despite the fact that Spyral is a non-linear deck, once you get to this part of the combo, it is fairly linear. So, Quick Fix adds Drone, Assault in Drone stack their deck, put a bad card on top, an Ash Blossom, because it's going to be useless next turn. And I'm going to summon another Quick Fix. Now, I don't actually have any other cards to search with Quick Fix, but there's no point in me searching Master Plan, because the second Quick Fix at least signifies more Link material if I want it, whereas I already got a Master Plan in rotation and multiple Rescue Missions in rotation. I don't need to search another Master Plan. I've only got one more mission left in my deck anyhow, I believe, right? Yeah. So I had Sleeper before I start doing any Curious shenanigans, so I'm going to go Link Karibo, and then I have these 3 Dark Monsters to make Curious. Now, if I did not have that Jackalope, I could obviously Rescue Mission back my Master Plan, but I could have also turned this Drone into a Relinquished Anima, and then done that. Also, I could have turned this Drone into Relinquished Anima, and then gone into Selene if I really wanted to, but I don't really need it, as you'll see. I'll have full combo here. So I send a Pointer to the graveyard, discard Nessie for Quick Fix. This is another reason why Dangers are good with Spyral. You can discard them with Quick Fix and maintain value. Normally, you discard one card with Quick Fix, summon Quick Fix, that's a 1-for-1, and then Quick Fix searches a card, so it's a +1. But with a danger, the danger itself is going to represent either a body on the field or a card in hand, so it's actually a +2. This is why Spyral and Dangers are so powerful together. Let's go ahead and do my link plays. Because I skipped Celine, I'm going to have to do the risky play of using my code breakers in my Appaloosa zones, and that risks like Nibiru or something, but my opponent hasn't prompted Nibiru, so I'm pretty safe. But just be wary that your code breakers do turn off your 2-mat Appaloosa for temporarily because of 0 Day's effect. So obviously Swordsman's going to search 0 Day, and 0 Day will decrease Appaloosa's attack. And then we're going to Berserker, summon Swordsman, summon 0 Day, and as you can see, I turned 2 link material into 6 link material. And I can go ahead and go into Nightmare Griffin. Now, that will send my Jackalope, and again, discard a card. I drew a Greffer. As you can see, I was still playing Greffer at this point. This is an older replay. Set my Appointer of the Red Lotus. Jackalope will summon me another material. Hooray, we got there. I can turn this Helix and this material into a Trigate Wizard, and now I'm 1 rescue mission away. I'm just going to summon any Spyral, it doesn't matter at this point, and then turn all 4 into Fireball Dragon. Now, you do have a choice here. I am going to Fireball Dragon to add Last Resort to hand. At this point, I know my opponent is a Sky Striker deck. And Fireball Dragon isn't that useful against Sky Striker. You could bounce a Ray, which is nifty once they go into a link play, but I would prefer to protect my sleeper from effects like multiple Afterburners, Raigeki's, Lightning Storms. So I've committed to also keeping a rescue mission in hand. I could have discarded this rescue at points in this combo, but I want to maintain a more grind game against a Sky Striker because it's not unlikely that a Sky Striker player could break my board with the 4 cards they have in hand. You know, a Lightning Storm, a Raigeki, and a Ray would do it really at that point. You know, enough board breakers they can break my board, obviously. So I'm just going to have to protect my sleeper because they have a really hard time outing sleeper once it's got Last Resort on it. Their deck doesn't play that well into it without something like evenly matched. And also, the other reason why Sky Striker is a great match for Spyral is Rescue Mission is an incredible grind card. Now, I get a point of the Red Lotus, and this is why you play it. Harpy's Feather Duster would have forced my Trigate negate. Then they would be able to Widow Anchor anything from my field, really. They could have taken my Trigate, my Appaloosa, or whatever. It would have been misery for me, especially with my Nightmare Griffin. They actually could have taken Nightmare Griffin and like put it over here, which would negate my sleeper, and it wouldn't negate my Apo, but that would be dangerous. You know, it could attack over my Apo at that point and then go into Ray. You know, there's just a bunch of very dangerous plays if I don't have this Appointer. So I'm going to get the Harpy's Feather Duster out and my opponent, and I actually go ahead and flip my Rescue Mission in standby because they have a Jamming Waves in hand, and I don't want them to like get a bunch of spells in graveyard and then turn on Jamming Waves by having a set card to hit. So I don't have a set card, they can't play Jamming Waves. They're going to Widow Anchor, I'm going to negate, and they're going to concede. Yeah, there you go. I mean, what do you expect, right? They have no more plays. Array does nothing looking at a board of Appaloosa. And yeah, that's game 1. That's a going first game. That's the board. Firewall, Trigate, Nightmare Griffin, Appaloosa, and a Appointed Red Lotus. A very powerful link-only board. Let's go into game 2. Alright, so here with game number 2. This time again with the older version of the deck where I was running Dark Griffer, and I think I was still on 3 copies of Mothman. And this is a pretty solid hand. I have a Rhoda, which can bait an Ash Blossom. I have Quick Fix, and Small World can get me 2 Magician Souls. This is why you play this card. So I'm going to open up with Rhoda, see what my opponent has, if anything. No Ash prompts. Okay, so I'm going to add Super Agent, and at this point I can just go full combo. This is just the generic Souls plus Quick Fix combo. Small World, just banish Greffer and Nessie to add Magician Souls. Mothman's just a generic extender if I need it, whereas Greffer isn't doing anything without an SC or Master Plan in hand. So I'll go ahead and set my Master Plan, add Rescue Mission, discard both, draw 2 cards, and I'm going to draw an extender in the form of 1-for-1, which is pretty common in this deck. Like, once you go Souls Quick Fix combo, generally another card in your hand or a card that you draw off Magician Souls is going to get you into an extender. So here we are. So I'm going to show you how you can use that extension to make a stronger board. Normally, you would probably just end on either a U-Link or a Nightmare Phoenix on a Trigate with just the Souls Quick Fix combo, even with 2 Quick Fixes. But this is, I mean, I'm almost certain you can definitely U-Link. But like I said, I've gone away from U-Linking because I don't find it that valuable. So this is you've actually seen this exactly the exact same thing before. I just had a Jackalope on the field last time. Assault Mission, summon Drone, stack their deck with an Ash Blossom again. Go figure. Summon Master Plan. At this point, I know my opponent's an Altergeist player, which is very sad for them because losing the coin flip against Spyral for Altergeist is miserable. They basically have to have evenly matched in hand or just a bunch of board breakers to do anything because Sleeper tears up their back row. So I go into Curious, and I'm just going to use my 1-for-1 now at this point because who cares? I should have actually used 1-for-1 first because I could risk milling my Quick Fix with Curious, but it's completely ancillary at this point. I had tons of extra material. So we're going to go into Appaloosa, and then we can use this Rescue Mission, summon a Master Plan, add a rescue mission, and then go into the code breakers. Hooray! I did an important thing here that I didn't mention last game. You want your sleeper in this your helix in this column when you do this kind of play, because it lets you draw a card off your Nightmare Griffin. Even if you have you normally have to because of Borg blocker, but sometimes you summon Selene first before you summon helix, so it is good to draw this card here. And I draw Zephyros, which you would play if you were running a Griffer. I go ahead and go to Trigate Wizard, and as you can see, I've got this extra Super Agent, and one more rescue mission will get me to my Firewall Dragon. This is what you do when you have that little extra extension, and you make a Fireball Dragon. If I didn't have that one form, which accounted for basically one material, I would just make Nightmare Phoenix here. And you summon Sleeper, equip Blaster Sword, and my poor opponent is on an Altergeist deck, and they're about to get brutally annihilated by the fact that, like, unless they have board breakers, they lose, and they don't have any board breakers in this hand. So I just banish Personal Spoofing because it's the card I at least want them to do anything with. But they summon Marionette, or obviously negate with Appaloosa. Why wouldn't you? It's an early monster. They go to battle phase. I can save my Sleeper by using Fireball Dragon and then pop their back row. And they actually set their Pot of Avarice to like try to protect their traps, but at this point it doesn't matter. Like, they're going to pass the turn to me, and I can pop their traps while having a Trigate back up to negate it. And I know their hand. It's Personal Spoofing, Marionetter, and an Ash Blossom. So they can't do anything because I'm just going to negate this. And at this point I'm just going to BM them a little bit, make a big access code talk for fun. So normal summon Drone, stack their deck, because why wouldn't you? Make a Nightmare Phoenix, because I'm just going to show them that I could pop even more of your cards if I wanted to. Then go into Access Code Talker for 6,300 attack, which is always fun, and attack for game. And that is game number 2, and that's another like going first combo, this time without like a bunch of dangers and weird extension. It was just Souls, Quick Fix, and one extender that I had to get me to a Firewall. Alright, let's go to game 3, and this time I'm going to show you some going second gameplay. Alright, so here we get number 3, and I'm going second. My opponent won the coin flip, and let's see what they do. Oh, set one pass. Great. Now, when your opponent does this, at least in this festival, what I found is they're most likely a very hand trap heavy deck. So I'm imagining if they wanted to go first, they're probably not Sky Strikers. Most Sky Strikers want to go second. So I'm going to guess either Marincess or Salamangreat. Those would be the common decks that want to go first and end like this. Maybe they're Spyral, and they just had a brick hand. They set a call by the grave or something. I've seen that happen before. But because they have these red sleeves, I would guess Salamangreat. And especially if they want to go first. So Reinforcing the Army was a great draw here, and this is kind of why you want to play it. It's going to search me for Tough, and then Tough plus Agent is your best opening going second. It forces negates, it gets 2 spirals in the field, it can pop multiple cards, and my opponent's going to have to ash this. They probably think I'm Sky Striker, so they don't want to let me get into Ray, but this is the better negate anyhow if they know a Spiral, because this would get me to a Super Agent or a Tough. Either one would be great. So I'm going to blind call Super Agent, assuming my opponent is a Salamangreat player, and they are, and they have a Salad on top, it's Gazelle, and I'm going to pop their back row. And they're going to use an effect failure on this. Okay, so this must be a really good back row. I don't know what it is, but who knows? Maybe it's a Floodgate? It wouldn't be crazy for them to run Rivalry, right? But now I have this Nessie, and Nessie is going to discard Rescue Mission. This is why you run Dangers, guys. They're great. This is why you run Danger, guys. I know it sounds like propaganda at this point, but it drew me into Foolish Bureau, which gets me into full combo by sending Master Plan. It's just awesome, right? So now I can go to Nightmare Phoenix. I'm going to go to Nightmare Phoenix first because my opponent's already used Ash, so I don't care about chain blocking my Master Plan, but they haven't used a DD Crow, and I have a Rescue Mission in Graveyard, and if I just triggered without having a second Rescue Mission, they can DD Crow my Master Plan. So it's important when you can, and you don't, and like it's not going to hurt your plays, to play around a card like DD Crow by discarding this Rescue Mission for cost with Phoenix, and now they cannot DD Crow my Master Plan. So I can Rescue Mission back my Master Plan. Go ahead and search my Assault Mission, because I already have another Rescue in Graveyard, so I'm not that worried about it. And go into Bork Blocker, discard Assault. I actually haven't even normal summoned yet, so this isn't even that necessary. I can just normal summon this Quick Fix that I'm adding, but it's good to have Assault in Graveyard. Especially if you, in a situation like this, where if your opponent still had more back row, you could like resort, add Tough, Assault in Tough, pop their next back row, and keep going. But it didn't matter here. I'm just going to big grab a Master Plan. At this point, this is an easy OTK. I can just go right into Access Code and Sleeper, and my opponent concedes. Obviously, like they're dead, clearly, and they don't have any other hand traps. They might have like an Effect Failure or something, and they're just staring down a bunch of Spirals under Spiral Resort, and they can't do anything about it. So yeah, that's just game. Let's go on to game number 4, another going second game. This time, a little more interesting. Alright, so now we got a going second game. This time against Live Twin. This is going to be a much better showcase of playing through Disruption in a real board instead of just an opponent who bricks on hand traps. So let's go ahead and speed this through. They get to do their whole, they're a one-card combo deck like Prank Kids or Zoo or whatever. They summon their guy, add their guy, make their guy, summon their guy, summon their guy, make their guy. You know, just, I shouldn't be like so critical of a link climb deck. I'm a link climb deck, but you know, this is just the same thing every time. This hand is a little awkward because it can do something if I get lucky on Super Agent, and I'm using Super Agent's actually much better going second because now I know what deck they're playing, right? So they're basically a 50-50 split between spells and monsters, depending on what kind of hand traps they're playing. Normally, I would favor monsters because they're more likely to play like Nibiru's and Effect Veilers and Maxi and Ash. So they're more likely to have more hand traps than spell cards, despite their main decks proclivity for having these spell extenders like a Sunny Snitch and a Passcode. So I draw a Danger, and Danger is very interesting because it does give me generic extension through Disruption right now. And this is why you play Dangers. They're both good going first and good going second. Imagine, I mean, if this was a Aware Arf, that would probably still be pretty good because it get me into Magician Souls, but Magician Souls wouldn't do a whole lot here if they're going to negate my Quick Fix, right? Watch this. Now I'm going to normal summon this Quick Fix, but this is obviously getting negated by Imperm. They had something, and they're going to remember the Imperm column. Don't play anything here. So I'm going to blind call Super Agent. I'm going to call Monster because I still think it's more likely for it to be a monster, but it ends up being a spell, and that sucks. So now I'm going to have to see what I can do with this Danger. And I discard Sleeper. That also sucks. I would have loved to discard Master Plan, but I draw a Rescue Mission, which is going to get me going, though not quite as much as you might think. So my opponent is going to Trouble Sunny. I thankfully have the call by for it. This is very important because my opponent drew a card. I wouldn't know their top card anymore, which would be problematic. And of course, they would pop my card, and I would have trouble comboing from there. Alrighty, so I'm going to negate the Trouble Sunny. And I can now go into Nightmare Phoenix, discarding my Rescue Mission. So I'm in an awkward situation here because I can't Rescue Mission, I can't discard both my Master Plan and my Rescue Mission. I need to discard Rescue Mission because I have no other plays otherwise. My opponent's going to Droplets here, which, sure, whatever, doesn't do anything. They send their Snitch, I guess, but they would have gained more life off that than the attack value of Phoenix. But I can Rescue Mission back my Quick Fix, get a big red, but, you know, I still don't have a way to get two Spyrals on the field here, right? Like, I can't special summon this Master Plan without discarding it, and I have to use my Quick Fix to do that to go into Board Blocker. And now I don't have Quick Fix on the field anymore. So even though I'm discarding my Master Plan and adding and summoning it with Big Red, I still don't have, like, I can't summon this Quick Fix. I have no way to get two Spyrals on the field. Super Agent's dead to my hand. I can add a Rescue Mission, but what's that doing, right? I don't even have any more generic discards. Okay, I summon Selene. Well, that's nifty. I can link climb. I'm still link climbing, but because I discarded my Sleeper, like, if I didn't discard Sleeper, I could go to Access Code Sleeper and basically, and I could kill them more or less. I would actually be short a little bit of damage because they're Trouble Sunny Snitch, but I can maybe find a way to get Quick Fix on the field or something. But here we are. You know, Activate Resort. I added Quick Fix because I'm pretty much out of important cards to add, but here's going to be the funny thing. So I'm going to add Assault because I've already got Rescue Mission in hand, so might as well add Assault. I'm going to add Last Resort. Now here's something that you don't see played very often in Spyral, but this is an important thing to know your deck can do. Last Resort, when going second, can send your rescue or your assault to the graveyard by setting them and activating its effect to allow you to attack directly by sending a card from your field to the graveyard. And now I've got an assault in graveyard, I can summon a Quick Fix, and I've got two Spyrals, I know their top card thanks to Super Agent, that gets me to Helix, and this is full combo, full OTK, whatever you want. It's everything you want it to be. I can now start using my Quick Fixes, discard Rescue Mission, summon Quick Fix, use double Helix, summon, put Sleeper back in my hand. That's right, yeah, this is the way you can recover Sleeper is with double Helix. Rescue back Master Plan. I've lost Last Resort, but I'm killing my opponent. Why do I care about Last Resort? Go into Rescue Mission, blah, blah, blah. At this point, I'm just going to BM them a little bit because I could just go Axe, Code Talker, Sleeper, and kill them, but, you know, they might have an Imper or something that they didn't set for some stupid reason, or an Effect Veiler. That's more likely. So, you know, it's better to play safe than sorry, so I'm going to go to a full Link Climb here. Maybe I'm going to make an Appaloosa without 0 Day on the field, so she's not negated. This plays around Nibiru or something if they were really holding it. I can go to Nightmare Griffin. This is maybe a little bit of BM here, but, you know, play it safe, you know. Set your call by the grave. That's going to keep them off of any more Live Twin plays next turn if something weird happens. Go into my Access Code Talker, even if it's only a two attack material access code, and attack them for game. And there we go. That's an actual real OTK, not just an OTK, but a board building OTK, just in case your opponent has some weird disruption that you didn't expect. And yeah, that's it, really. Let's get back to the deck. Alright, and here's the deck one last time in case you're interested, and that's basically how my Link event has been going. I have a plus 70% win rate so far, mostly because Spyral is almost certainly the best deck in this format, even with the Spyral Resort limitation. The fact is that you have so much power going first. You're certainly the most powerful combo deck going first, and only Code Talkers can really do the same kind of power level stuff you can. And they got hit with a microcoder limit, so they're not even that good. And going second, you're also one of the best decks. You don't have a lot of hand traps, like maybe Salad or Marincess might have, over Life Twins, but you have a lot more power going second. You can break boards the traditional way with Nightmare Climbing and pop effects like Tough, Super Agent, and Sleeper, and that's just a lot more powerful than like hoping you draw the right combination of hand traps. Having a consistent engine that breaks board is really powerful. But you know, those other decks are fine. I just think Spyral is far and away the best deck in this format, even with the limitations. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you got any questions, throw them down in the comments. I'll probably answer them. And if you like the video, hey, like the video. I like it when you like the video. See y'all next time. Have a good one. Bye.